Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to discuss some shocking money statistics that you probably don't want to be a part of. Now, in no shape or form is this video to be judgmental of anybody. If you fall under any of these statistics, I do not mean to offend you in any way. I just think it's important to try to not be in these statistics because then you would be in a better financial situation. I myself have been in some of these statistics before. I am part of the debt numbers because I have student loan debt and auto loan debt. So of course, a lot of us will fall into these, but I think it's important to try to stay out of them so that we can have a better financial future. I also need to say that statistics take some time to develop and get out to the public. So a lot of these statistics are from 2019 or early 2020. And obviously 2020 was very different compared to recent years. So I'm sure things have changed pretty drastically, and maybe that's something that I could touch upon next year when the numbers are in for everything and finalized. But nonetheless, these were recent statistics that a lot of people fall under. So let's go through those. Also, everything that I mention will be linked down below. The websites that I got these from, I don't know how legit they are, honestly, but they're still interesting nonetheless. The reason I thought of this video idea was because I came across a statistic recently that literally made my jaw drop. I don't know why it was so shocking to me, but I guess it was more upsetting than shocking. So that statistic is gonna be the first one we're gonna cover. And according to Acorns, 41% of millennials admitted to spending more on coffee in the past year than they had invested. That makes me really sad because I'm a millennial. Obviously, most of the people I know are millennials, and we get a bad rep, and I think that we get it hard for some things like, oh, stop spending money on coffee and avocado toast and all those funny little things that you hear about millennials. But I don't doubt this statistic because I see people on YouTube, in life, in general, purchasing coffees every day, even in college. And once they start their careers, they go get lunch or coffee, whatever. And I could see how that's possible. A lot of people are afraid of investing or not educated on it, or they just think it's something that you're supposed to do later, and that's just not the case. And almost 50% of people in my age group are not investing money. They're spending more on coffee. That's pretty insane because coffee, yeah, it's amazing. I love coffee, but 9.9 times out of 10, I am making my coffee at home for like 20 cents, 30 cents per day. And it's just not necessary for you to be going out to get coffee every single day, even if it's the best tasting thing you've ever had. This will save you a lot of money. This will save you a lot of calories for most people, and you can in turn invest that money. Or if you are going out to get coffee, then you should be investing the same, if not more, for your future. So then I did some research on more statistics, shocking statistics, and we're just going to go through those. So 59% of adults in the US admitted to living paycheck to paycheck in 2019. That information comes from Schwab. I do have a video on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck because that is a very stressful life, and I know that I am so grateful to no longer be living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I do have a zero-based budget where all of my money is used towards something, but you are no longer living paycheck to paycheck when you have a solid emergency fund, and basically you have money left over after all of your expenses. Related to that, which is even worse, this is from Willis Tower Watson. They said 18% of workers earning a salary larger than $100,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. Because no matter how much money you make, you can either be off really well financially or living paycheck to paycheck or worse. This is why I don't understand why people hate on the people who pay off debt even though their salaries are really high, or who are able to become financially independent because their salaries are really high. Because most people who are making over $100,000 feel the pressure to demonstrate that in their lifestyle. And so they typically inflate their lifestyle, buy a new car, get a bigger home, buy designer products or just nicer clothes. And so they end up living paycheck to paycheck as well, or they may be facing a whole lot of debt, even more than somebody with lower income. People making millions of dollars are not excluded from this, not excluded from these paycheck to paycheck statistics or struggling financially. As somebody who has a lower income, it can be frustrating to hear that, or it can be shocking to hear that. Like, how is somebody who's making $200,000 living paycheck to paycheck? Like, I am fine and I'm making whatever amount. And that's because people just are not educated on finances and also mindlessly spend their money. And so it doesn't matter what your income is, because if you have bad financial habits with a low income, you will probably have bad financial habits with a high income. This is the exact same reason why, people who win the lottery or people who inherit money or come across a large amount of money typically go back to where they were when they started, because they don't know how to handle their money. This next one says, in 2019, about 29.2% of Credit Donkey survey respondents didn't save any of their income. So this comes from Credit Donkey. Honestly, I couldn't find how many respondents this included, but it's almost 30%, and 30% of them did not save any of their income, which is just a shame. Looking back, I can say the same, because I don't know where my money went from the age of 15 or 16 through basically 23. I've said this multiple times in my videos on this channel that if I could go back, I would tell myself to save money, even if it's just 5%. Just save some money and don't even touch it, even if it's an emergency, because now I would have a much larger cushion. I think it's a huge mistake not to save your money as you get older, and you can learn from other people and learn from your younger self who did not save money and start saving money now. So that could be saving cash, that could be investing, of course, putting money into your company's 401k or your Roth IRA, whatever options you may have. But 30% of people not saving any of their money is pretty high. And I don't know the age on that, but I'm going to assume a lot of that is just all across the board. This next stat is from Schwab as well, Charles Schwab, and I highly recommend you go check the link out down below, because it had a lot of interesting stats in regards to what I'm about to say. So it said 3 in 5 Americans pay more attention to how their friends spend compared to save. And this is really interesting because social media can be a good thing, but there are a lot of negatives that come with social media. And I know one of those things is FOMO, or fear of missing out. And people see their friends or influencers or celebrities posting their vacations and their clothes, their shoes, all these things. And that's all we're seeing. We're not paying attention to what they're saving or what they're not doing with their life. We're just seeing the things, the highlight reels of their life. And these stats were really interesting because it broke it down how millennials and Gen Z are looking. Is it Gen Z or Gen X? I can't. What's after millennials? Like younger than millennials? Gen Z? I think it's Gen Z. But basically, it shows how people are wondering how their friends of similar ages are able to afford their clothes or vacations. It just showed all these different statistics comparing millennials and Gen Z and how they view their friends on social media. And it's just something to keep in mind. Like, what you're seeing on social media, again, is a highlight reel, and most people are not sharing how much debt they have. Most people are not sharing their budgets, or if they even have one, or if they struggle financially, or how much they're saving at their job or anything like that, because those things just aren't fun to a lot of people. It's not like a cool photo to post. That leads to a lot of pressure for people to spend more money and book vacations that they can't afford and things like that. And it's just pretty absurd. And it's sad, honestly, that people do that, because it truly isn't real life. It's not a real thing. And even if they are doing better off financially, you don't know their story, you don't know their situation. And I think it's more important to just focus on your finances and make them as strong as possible, and don't worry about what other people are spending their money on, because they probably are struggling financially. All right, according to the Federal Reserve, in 2019, 37% of adults could not pay for a $400 emergency in cash. This is a very common statistic. I've heard this many times for many years, and I'm sure things have changed now because of COVID, and I'm sure more people are saving money. Hopefully, people are saving more money, and I do hope that people learn from this and keep their savings high and continue to save more through the future, even after the pandemic, once things calm down. But that's pretty bad and pretty scary, because it also said that most people need to put that emergency on a credit card, which would be revolving. It specifically said that they would charge the credit card and would have to make monthly payments, or they would need to borrow money from, like a personal loan or from family or friends, which is pretty bad. $400 is not that much money. It's not at all. Having an emergency fund is definitely the first step you should take when it comes to getting in a better financial state. And Dave Ramsey promotes the $1,000 emergency fund, which is a good start. But honestly, I think with everything going on and just in general, emergencies typically are a lot more than $400. So I would save more and prioritize that. One of the best things that you can do when it comes to catching up on bills or getting your emergency fund built up is look through your home and find things to sell. And if you don't have anything to sell, I would look on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or walk around some nearby neighborhoods and find things on the side of the road that are for free and sell those, because that is your quickest way to earn some money. Okay, this next one comes from Guidant. 1 in 4 parents reported they never or almost never talk to their kids about household finances. And I think this mostly comes from this is just generational. Their parents probably didn't talk about finances, and their parents probably didn't talk about finances. Or if they did, it was negative. A lot of times parents will say things like, no, we can't afford that, or no, that's too much money. And those things really negatively impact children, because they grow up to believe the same thing, and then they teach their children that. And it's just this whole vicious cycle of, we can't afford that, we're broke, that's, money doesn't grow on trees, things like that. It creates these money beliefs in our head that really hold us back. Obviously, I'm not a parent, but I think it is really important for parents to talk to their children about managing their money, because that's where it all starts. I was not educated in finances by my parents or in school. Most people are not educated in finances. And so this can prevent a lot of things growing up, making silly money mistakes, not saving enough, avoiding student loan debt or debt in general, overspending, learning how to budget, things like that. It's really important. 1 in 4 parents, that's pretty high. 25% of parents are not talking to their kids about it. That probably includes parents that are making a lot of money, because even, like I said, even wealthy people don't necessarily know how to manage their money or how to teach it to their children. But I know as a child that I would have greatly appreciated talking about it more, discussing it more, and, making something fun out of it, like learning how to do certain things when it comes to finances. Yeah, I hope that's another thing that really changes with people. And I think people are so uncomfortable talking about money, and a lot of parents teach their children that it's rude to talk about it or ask about it, and I just don't agree with that whatsoever. Obviously, I'm very open with my finances, and I don't think it's something that is taboo whatsoever. I think it's a fun topic and should be spoken about more often. So yeah, that's part of my goal too with this YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm just one person, and so I think this is a goal of a lot of people talking about finances on YouTube, is to make it more of a normal thing. With my family and with my friends, I talk about money all the time. That's just a normal thing. I don't care. And also with the financial coaching that I have started to offer, I want to help as many people as possible get better with their finances and more comfortable talking about it and dealing with it, so that it can help them in their lives, their children, their spouses, their friends, whatever, and continue that generationally. Now, to close, I'm going to end off with some stats in regards to how much total debt there is. So credit cards, as of Q3 of 2019, over $1.08 trillion of credit card debt in America. Luckily, I am not. Well, I guess at that time I was part of that statistic. I had a few grand in credit card debt in Q3 of 2019 because I did a balance transfer. But now I'm very grateful to say that I am no longer part of that credit card debt statistic. So 1.08 trillion, that's insane. And I know there were a lot of statistics. Like I said, I'll put everything down below, so go check those out because you'll see a lot of stats on everything. And there were, stats on people behind on credit cards or missing payments, how many people like applied for new credit cards, the average balance. I think the average balance per household was like over $8,000 on credit card, and obviously that's revolving, which you're paying a lot in interest, unfortunately. So credit card debt is something I will now completely avoid. I do charge my credit card so that I can earn the points, and basically my goal is to get all my money back that I had spent on interest in the past, by getting cash reward points and things like that. So I never have revolving credit card debt now. For auto loans, in Q2 of 2019, this was over $1.3 trillion, again in America, and I am still part of that statistic. I'm sure it has grown by now. It seems to be increasing every single year for all of these. I think auto loans are something that people see as completely normal, and typically with auto loans the minimum payment per month is pretty high, and so that's a big problem for a lot of people because they'll buy a $40,000 car and think that's no big deal because they can afford the monthly payments, but it's like $600 plus car insurance, which is just insane. So again, I'm trying to work on paying off my auto loan first because my student loans are paused, and I'm excited to not be a part of this statistic any longer, and I don't ever want to be a part of it ever again. I would like to, use my car up until I need a new one and then purchase a used car in full. So that's the plan. Now, this last one is for student loans, and of course in America, you guys know this is like the biggest problem. In Q1 of 2020, there was $1.54 trillion of student loans in America. I am part of that statistic. I'm sure it has increased pretty dramatically now, and obviously that's going to also be increased because people are not paying their student loans, so it hasn't gone down in almost 8 months or so. Like for myself, I have not paid my student loans since March because I don't need to right now. That is another statistic that I'm very excited to no longer be a part of or ever be a part of again, because it is soul sucking to be in student loan debt. And so yeah, so those were the few statistics that I ran through and thought were pretty shocking or upsetting, and things that I really want to encourage people to not be a part of, because being a part of those statistics is very stressful. I know finances in general are very stressful for a lot of people, and so if we can avoid being in those statistics, we have a lot more peace of mind. And I can say for myself, because I used to be a part of several of those, and now that I am not, I have, money saved up. I could pay for an emergency if I needed to. I don't live paycheck to paycheck, and I did previously. I have much more peace of mind, and I feel way more financially stable now than I ever had. And it's such an amazing feeling. And I hope everybody can experience that and get to a point where they are more educated in their finances by consuming content that, teaches finances, or reading books, anything like that. And that's the main thing you can do, is to be intentional about where your money goes, how you're spending your money. Pay attention to the things that actually make you happy in life, and don't spend on things that don't actually bring true value. Live well below your means and save your money, invest your money, continue to educate yourself in finances, and that's all you can do. Feel free to comment down below any other shocking statistics, money statistics that you have come across recently or ever, or you can comment down below if you are not a part of these, or what you're trying to get out of in regards to these stats. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next week.